In costuming, what's on your feet, to me, is just as important what's on your hands, your head, your shoulders, you name it. It's an integral part of having an authentic looking replica or even just a general costume in particular. Many times, the boots and shoes that you see in movies are off the shelf and you can pick them up yourself and have that piece that's completely replicated, but sometimes they're custom made or they're adapted. Much in the case of a lot of Hollywood films, you may be surprised on how many footwears that you see are actually not what you think they are. And in the Arrow television series, Green Arrow is no exception. The first look we got of the Green Arrow costume was at San Diego Comic-Con in 2012. A lot of great details were announced there, or you're seen there really, from the costume, right from its threads, to its gear, to its quiver, to its bow, everything like that. It was really exciting to see where they're going with it. But one thing that a lot of people took pictures of was the boots. It wasn't until the show was well into its first season that I started looking, thinking, he's not moving the way he should be moving with those boots. And I didn't quite think that the boots were the same, but it was kind of conflicting. As you're watching the show, he's definitely wearing leather boots, but moving like he's wearing, some sort of running shoe. And it wasn't until a good friend of mine said, well, have you looked at, parkour shoes? And I was like, what do you mean parkour shoe? And that is when I started looking at free running shoes. Now to me, I'm not a free runner or even someone who needs super duper comfortable shoes. I like to wear Chuck Taylor Converse shoes. So this was a whole new world for me, and I guess they've been around for many years, and that's when I started finding out what shoe was actually used. And it was pretty cool. They basically took a Nike Free Run 2, specifically 2+ shoe, and created a leather upper to look like a combat boot. This is a very standard practice when it comes to superhero boots or even any kind of shoe in a movie that you need to move around and have that comfort and arch support and everything, and yet still look like the proper boot. They must have really liked the look of the military boot, but my guess is either Stephen Amell himself or the producers didn't like how he couldn't or was restricted from running and doing some of the parkour stunts that Green Arrow did in the show, that they wanted to do something a little bit of combination. And these boots have actually lasted all the way up into the current season that's coming up this next October, with a little bit tweaked to the overall design, but for the most part, they've continued this whole look. And I was able to recreate this as close as possible thanks to my friends at Aria's Done Designs. Now, I've mentioned in previous videos how frustrating it is when you just find out what a piece is for real, because as soon as you do, it's usually discontinued. And it's no different for these Nike Free Run 2 shoes. So if you find one excellent, there are a number of knockoffs you can still get, but unfortunately not in the correct color. The correct color we found was actually anthracite. Now it is basically just like a dark gray, but because it was a dark gray sole and a black shoe, it's very, very hard to find. Not only that, but it had a red logo on the bottom. Now working with Aria is to get the best looking upper leather portion, which again was based on this leather boot that they found or had custom made. We were able to create the whole upper as you're looking here, and it was really, really cool to try and get in the right look. Mostly because these boots aren't the standard 8 to 10-inch military combat boot. They're actually a lot higher with 14 individual eyelets going all the way up on each side of the boot. They're pretty tall. Now I gotta say, I absolutely love these boots. As you're looking at them, you can see they're really well made. They're stitched where you can, where they need to be to hold as a tight. And when you're wearing them, you can really move in these. At some point, I will definitely show an action shot of these boots for sure, but they're really, really fun to run around in. You can crouch in them. You can do pretty much all the stunts that you see in Arrow. And that's all thanks to the Nike Free Run sole, because they didn't actually take the sole off. They just built it on top of the actual shoe itself. So the whole shoe is actually, contained inside. So there you go, a small insight to the Arrow costume. Again, used from series 1 through 3. And of course, coming up in the next season for sure. It's just a little bit tweaked, as I've mentioned, and I'll go over that when I go over that costume a little more in depth for sure. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to my new little icon here. I have more videos coming up. I will definitely have a Arrow quiver and leather gear from season 2, or actually season 3 coming up. So that'll be really fun to show off as well. I can't wait to share that with you. I've been really looking forward to it. But be sure to subscribe if you want to keep abreast of those. For now, if you want to click here and here for 2 more Arrow videos, I got some great ones coming up. I had some great ones in the past, so be sure to take a look through those. But thank you so much for liking and subscribing. But most of all, thanks for watching.